So we're early in the year, and that does make people kind of think about what's happened to them in their life so far and take stock and reflect. So with that in mind, I've had to think about what I would actually wish I'd have known when I was a teenager. So I've compiled a bunch of things that I think would have made a difference to me throughout the course of my life. Would it actually have done anything? Well, we can never know that, of course, but I'd like to think that if I'd known these key things, it might have made the course of my life run a little more smoothly. And I hope some of these will resonate with you out there and make you think what you wish you'd known when you were a teenager. So let's jump in. And we are in. Okay, so the first one goes along the lines of the older I get, the less I know. Now there is like a meme that goes round, that's done the rounds in the past about teenagers, and it goes something along the lines of, teens, are you tired of your lame, harassing parents? Act now and get a job and pay your own way while you still know everything. And I think that's really true of teenagers. In general, and always has been, that you do get to a point, and I remember this point, where you think you know a lot more than your parents about life and you can't wait to get out there and do something. I suppose that's just the nature kicking in and giving young people that boost to go out and make their own way in the world. But of course, the older you get, the more you realise that you know nothing, and there's so much to know and you know a tiny little fraction of it. So yeah, the older I get, the less I know. So I think that is something I would have liked to have known as a young adult. Okay, next one up. This one is about health, as you might expect. So you always think that you're going to have your health. I certainly did. I remember being a smug 35-year-old, and I distinctly remember thinking, I'm doing pretty well. I'm 35 and I'm in perfect condition. And that very same year, I got rheumatoid arthritis, and I still have it. So, and I will have it for the rest of my life. So that was my first chronic disease. So yeah, I think that's something that as a young person, it's very difficult to appreciate, that you won't always have your health. I always think when people talk about appreciating things, it's very difficult to walk around thinking, oh, I'm really appreciating this moment right now. But I think it just gives us a little bit of a boost to think that, okay, I'm not always going to have this amount of health, so let's really enjoy this moment. I know you can't think it permanently and continuously, but just every so often it's nice just to remind yourself. Which leads me nicely on to the next point. So when you're young, you think you'll never have to pay any attention to your health. It just comes automatically, certainly when you're at school, because you're doing all sorts of exercises anyway as part of the curriculum. But you think when you get to, I mean, I left school at 16, so you think that at 16, you've left school, you don't have to pay any attention to it. When in actual fact, paying attention to your health when you are young is what delays and prevents the onset of chronic diseases when you get older. I wish I'd known that. I would maybe have paid more attention to certain areas of my health. So the next one again is based on a bit of a meme, a bit of a saying, and it's been attributed to the Buddha apparently, but it's nonetheless very true as far as I'm concerned, and it goes something like this. When the Buddha was asked what's the number one mistake most people make through their life, apparently the Buddha replied, the trouble is you think you have time. And that is absolutely true. The more you kind of delve into it and think about it, you think you have time for everything that you really want to do. I always wanted to learn to ski, never did. Too late now. I don't really think I want to walk around with a broken leg. Walk around with a broken leg? I always wanted to learn to play the saxophone. I had a little go at it a few years ago, then COVID hit, and by trying it I realised that really you need at least 10 years to be able to do that properly. I'm not saying I don't have 10 years, but I'm just not patient enough to be able to really put the practice in that I needed. I like listening to it, but the playing side of it, it's too late now. I needed to do it when I was young. And there's many things like that in life that if you've got time to do it and you're young enough, do it while you can. Now the next one is from a Sam Harris podcast actually. He discussed this and it was about life and death in general, mostly about death to be honest, just to be a little bit depressing. But the whole point of this exercise is not to be depressing, it's to actually make you appreciate life more. So he said something along the lines of, you will do everything for the last time. So you will play with your child for the last time. I've done that. I've played with my child for the last time. She's nearly 17, too late. You will play with the dog for the last time. When you come in and you're tired and you've been working and your dog wants to play with you, you will get to the point where you will do that very thing for the last time. So appreciate it. So that's the idea. You know, you'll have a last meal with a loved one, you will go out, you will walk for the last time, whatever it is, the tiny little things in life, there will be a finite final moment when you do that thing. So the idea of that exercise is, of course, to think about the small things in life, the small pleasures in life, and to actually try and live in the moment and enjoy that particular pleasure. I'm not sure whether at 16 I'd have really appreciated this concept, but who knows, unless somebody told me. Okay, the next one is to do with identity. I know this is very popular and current topic at the moment. So identity in terms of your job. So I think that you are not your job. Now I think lots of people fall into that trap, including me. When I worked in the bank, I was a bank officer. When I became chief cashier, I was chief cashier and I walked around thinking I was a chief. When I left the bank and became a teacher, then I was a teacher and I expected people to respect me for that. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what you do. That doesn't change what you can do, what you're capable of, what you're like as a person, what your intelligence is like, what you are worth. What am I now? Well, I mess around on YouTube and I'm a gardener. I cut grass, I weed, I chop things down. Is that all I can do? Is that all I'm capable of? Am I to be treated as a lower echelon of society? Well, I don't think so. I think you should always treat people as they appear to you. I don't think you are a reflection of what your job is. And of course, for me, that's become particularly resonant over the past few years as my job has kind of plummeted down to this lower rung. But I don't think that should signify what a person is worth. Another example is I remember very distinctly when I was young getting very friendly with a driver of a coach driver. He used to take people on holidays. He worked for my uncle who had a coach firm. And this man was a very, very intelligent man. He was a geologist by training, and at one point he was earning a lot of money, and he even had the ability to hire a plane to take him off somewhere to find out what the geology was like so that somebody could dig for oil or coal or some such thing. So you can imagine it was a really high paid job, and he ended up as a coach driver through different things that happened to him in life. And if you'd have treated him as if he was not particularly intelligent, I'm not saying coach drivers aren't intelligent, this is my whole point. I think people do automatically assume that your intelligence level equates to what your job is. So I think, yeah, you are not your job, and no matter what it is you do in life, people should treat you as you appear to them, how you treat them, how you come across to them. That's far more important than what your job tells everybody that you are like. So that's a very long-winded way of saying your identity is separate from your job. Okay, and the final one I think lots of people might actually resonate with. So this is that people 2,000 years ago and more actually had the same problems that we have today. So I'm talking about relationship problems, worries about people, worries about tasks that need to be done, worries about children, about money, about making a living. And the proof for this is if you read Seneca or Marcus Aurelius, you'll see that a lot of the problems are very, very similar. They worry about illness, they worry about death, they worry about what's going to happen in the future, they worry about what's happened in the past. And I came across another quote the other day, and I can't remember, I think it could have been again a Sam Harris thing. I don't know whether it's to be attributed to him or to the team, who knows, but something along the lines of the present is really all there is. Now think about that, the present is really all there is. So the past, ruminating on the past, has no effect on it whatsoever. The past has happened, it's gone. No matter how much you ruminate over it, you can't change it. The future hasn't happened, so you're worrying about something that's entirely in your imagination. In fact, both the past and the future are entirely abstract concepts and they don't exist. They're not something that is real. Only the present is real. The present is really all there is. Now, knowing that probably won't change the fact that I'm still going to ruminate on the past and I'm still going to worry about the future. I think if it's in you, it's in you. But every so often it's nice just to realise and think, actually, no, the present is all there is. Let's be present and let's try and shut out that imaginative part and hopefully not worry too much about what's going to happen in the future. And if I'd have known that at 16, well, would it have made any difference? Probably not, but it certainly would have helped a little tiny bit. So there are my six or 7 things there. I hope some of them resonated with you, and maybe we can start a little bit of a discussion in the comments. Do any of those resonate? Do any of those really hit home? And do you think they would have made any difference to the 16-year-old you? And maybe there's something that I've not thought of, I'm sure there is, that you would actually tell yourself when you were young. Please tell me in detail in the comments. Love to hear from people. That's it for now. A little slight aside from all the planty information. I thought it was interesting to think about, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.